actions, Martha?
Well, as John said, Robin, he will call on the world to help, but a military option does remain on the table. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis emphasized that again on Monday, but he added something very intriguing to his comments, saying there are military options that would not put South Korea's capital, Seoul, at grave risk if the U.S. acted against North Korea. When you have Seoul with 10 million people just 35 miles from the North Korean border, and you know that Kim Jong-un would retaliate, that is one reason a military option is so ugly. But Mattis would not go into any detail about what they're thinking, but experts say it could be a cyber attack or something they believe Kim would not respond to or could not respond to militarily, Robin.
What about the recent military exercises? Do they at least send some sort of message to North Korea?
Robin, these most recent exercises are live fire exercises. There are real bombs on those warplanes. I went up last month in an F-16 fighter jet to the border of North Korea, which the U.S. patrols constantly. Those jets were not armed. So this week's exercises do send a strong message, but Kim knows what the U.S. is capable of doing, and he knows very well it is an option that no one wants to use, and he surely factors that in as well, which is why he continues with his nuclear program, Robin.
That's it. All right, Martha, thank you very much. And stay tuned later this morning. George will anchor our live coverage of the President's address, joined by Martha and John. That's at 10:30 Eastern Time.
Yeah, we'll be here all morning long. We'll move on latest now on the Russia investigation. Special Counsel Robert Mueller and his team are zeroing in on President Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, as the Senate Intelligence Committee prepares to question Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, today. Our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, here with the details. And Brian, it is clear that Paul Manafort in the crosshairs of the special counsel.
That's right, George. The counsel this morning appears to be closing in on its first indictment in the Russia investigation. One-time campaign chairman Paul Manafort is the target. FBI agents raided his home over the summer, and the New York Times reports this morning that prosecutors have threatened him with indictment. It was just last Friday that Manafort's own public relations person, Jason Maloney, spent 2 hours before the federal grand jury in Washington being run by prosecutors for special counsel Robert Mueller. Maloney declined to answer questions about his testimony as he left the courthouse. Handling the grand jury appearance for the special counsel is veteran prosecutor Andrew Weissman, one of 16 seasoned attorneys working for Mueller. Weissman, the former head of the Justice Department's fraud section, is known as an aggressive prosecutor, best known for taking down major mafia figures and corporate crooks. Manafort has made millions of dollars as a Washington lobbyist whose clients have included people tied to Russia, and people close to him say he's preparing for a serious and strenuous legal battle charge.
We also know that he was wiretapped. One of the big questions was whether President Trump was picked up in those wiretaps. Meantime, Michael Cohen, the president's close personal lawyer, going to the Senate Intelligence Committee today.
That's right. Cohen is a guy who knows all of Trump's secrets, both business and personal. Michael Cohen was deeply involved in the negotiations to build a Trump Tower in Moscow, all at the very time candidate Trump denied doing any business in Russia.
I don't deal there. I have no businesses there. I have no loans from Russia. I have nothing to do with Russia. I don't know money. I don't have deals in Russia. I don't know Putin. I have nothing to do with Russia.
Today, Cohen will be asked if what his boss and client said was true. He has already turned over documents to Congress that showed Trump signed a non-binding letter of intent with a Russian company to build the skyscraper, which would have led to a $4 million initial payment to Trump. To broker the deal, Cohen used a Russian-born middleman with a criminal record, Felix Sater, who wrote in one email to Cohen, "Buddy, our boy can become president of the USA, and we can engineer it. I will get all of Putin's team to buy in on this."
If you believe the reports about Mr. Cohen and the effort to try to create Trump Tower Moscow, to me that's a relevant piece of information. We're going to want to follow anyone who's got ties to Russia.
Cohen will tell investigators he briefed Trump at least 3 times about the Moscow Tower deal, saying that he ultimately abandoned the project because of difficulties obtaining financing and government approval. George?